If you accidentally fall out of a plane, most people think you should aim to land in water, but in reality that's the worst option. The thing is, water doesn't compress well, and you'll be falling at over 200 miles per hour. The impact will feel the same as hitting concrete. It's better to choose another landing spot if possible. For example, the Do More Deals Summit, where real estate agents get together and learn from the top 1% agents across the nation. This is where you will learn secret strategies agents are used to close 50+ deals a year without breaking a sweat. So what are you waiting for? Click the link and get your tickets today. If you accidentally fall out of a plane, most people think you should aim.
That is so good.
Hey, you know what's funny? People can't see it, but I can see Ricky as he was playing it. He was so cheesing, bro. He's like, "I'm the man, bro. I'm him."
you know what? Hey, you know it's funny? I was on here for like 15 minutes, just kind of waiting for you. Like, no big deal, you know. Like, my time's not valuable, you know. But like Ricky waited to put that
just so I can see it
when you popped on, bro. He didn't put it during the 15 minutes, you know. So that's why he was cheesing. Hey,
that's what's up.
I have seen that video with like a real estate agent using it, and when I saw it, I was like, I hope that Ricky's doing it for the Do More Deals Summit, and sure enough, he did it for the Do More.
I love that, brother. Great job, dude. That's awesome. How you doing, man? How's
everything going? Jose's time is not valuable.
Nah,
it's okay. It's kind of like, yeah, he's just kind of just no big deal, you know.
He'll just wait around for me, you know what I mean? No, I was doing I had technical difficulty. We were doing a podcast and I had technical difficulty. It took a little bit.
It's all right, bro. No need to explain, you know.
Yeah,
okay. I understand.
Yeah. So, you know, this time of the year, what I find interesting is Justin came up to me, you know, the guy that we who has spoken at, like, you know, multiple events that we've done, including Do More Deal Summit, that teaches people about taxes and everything. And he said more than one agent came up to him at last year's Do More Deal Summit and was like, "Hey, I haven't paid taxes in like a couple of years. Like, do I need to do that?" And he was like, "What?" And he was like, "More than one, bro." And I was like, "Holy smokes, man!" So, you know, we were talking earlier today, and like, hey, you know what?
Here's the thing: the IRS is probably, besides the U.S. government, like that's the second least person that you would ever want to owe money to or mess with.
Yeah, exactly, dude. So
they don't play around.
They don't play around, man. And so you know, we were like, hey, would it make sense to have a conversation about that? So that's what we'll do today. And I think at an elementary level, right? So let's say you're doing more deals, you're implementing what we're talking about. You are, you know, starting to transact more. You're making more money. Yay. We love that for you, right? We want you to be as productive as possible. We want you to make a whole bunch of money. Well, something that you have to remember is not all of that money is yours. Okay. We had somebody in our organization, young guy, dude. He's like in his 20s, Jose. He cold called an apartment building. He sold out it was something like an $8 million deal. He made $300,000 in 1 month when it closed, and he's like 23.
Yeah.
I called him he sent me the text when it closed. I called him immediately and I was like, "Hey, bro, congratulations, dude. I'm so pumped for you." He was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "This is your unc just giving you a little gentle reminder." He's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Remember, you have to pay taxes on that money." And he was like, "Oh, yeah. I'm good. I'm going to set some aside." So, you know, at the beginning of my career, what I did, just kind of rudimentary, was we created like, you know, just different bank accounts. So when we got a commission that came in, we would just take a portion of it right off the top and put it into the tax account, like immediately, right away. And then we would take a portion of it, put it in the savings account, put a portion of it and put it into, you know, say like a charity account, however you allocate it, right? And what that ends up doing is you end up living off of like 40 to 50%, let's say, of the actual commission check. And what that does is that creates a situation for you that when the tax bill comes, it's not like, oh, I need to like extend it so I can make money in 2026 in order to pay for it. Like you already have it, right? And it's not something that you got to, you know, really worry about. And I don't know about you, Jose. I've had multiple agents have that conversation with me, like, bro, like I'm behind. I mean, I remember there was a guy I was working with, dude, like in a group setting, and he was like, "Oh yeah," just in passing, just like quietly. He didn't even like He's like, oh yeah, like I owe like 300 grand to the. I'm like, what? What did you say to me? Meanwhile, this guy has he has like $1,100 car payment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, what are we doing, dude? Like, it's like there's a pile of crap in the room and you're spraying perfume on it and like walking around it like it doesn't exist. Like, nah, dude, we gotta rectify this. So, is that something that you like at the beginning of your career, like you thought about? Is that something that like you had to learn the hard way? Like, what? How did you come to that conclusion? Because I had to ask people because nobody I knew made any money. You know what I mean?
So I come from a business family, like meaning my parents were business owners, my uncle were business owners, and one of the businesses that they owned was a check cashing business. And that check cashing business, I would see business owners' checks bounce. And when I would see that, what I would think is something can look really good on the outside, and on the inside, they're mismanaging funds tremendously. So, um, I saw mismanagement of funds very early on in my life. So when I got into real estate, I made a decision. I said, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm basically going to be the guy that never gets in trouble with his taxes or owing money to the IRS. Not only that, I had my dad who got audited in the 1990s. It came out clean. There was like a $200 adjustment that he owed. And over 5 years, that became like thousands of dollars, basically, because they charged like super high interest. So my dad told me that story. And when he told me that story, I'm like, okay, the IRS is the one person that I don't want to owe money to. So I saw this gal speak very early on in my career, and I hired her as a tax, and she helped me get incorporated. She kind of helped me like figure out what to do with taxes. But I remember, bro, sitting in these meetings, like just wanting to make more money, but then having to take a step back, like, because I have to focus on these tax things. And it was like a completely foreign project. So I'll take it back one more step. You know how you had the different bank accounts, basically the bank account, the tax account, and the savings. What I would say is, and this is the way I set it up, I would have all of my business checks go into the business account, basically. From the business account, any business expenses that you have come out of that business account. Because what I see very early on with newer agents is that they have business expenses from personal accounts and they have personal expenses from their business account.
Yeah, they commingle funds.
They commingle funds like crazy. So I would, for sure, if you want to dumb it down, have a business account and a personal account, basically.
Yeah,
any business expense you need comes from the business account. Anything that it is, coaching, whatever, that makes the bookkeeping so much easier. Because if you have to go through all of your accounts trying to determine what's a business expense and what's a personal expense, that makes it extremely complex. But if you can go to one account and say, okay, this is how much came in, this is how much came out, that is the profit, it makes it very easy for you to categorize it. Now, if you have any personal expenses, you take money from your business account and you put it into your personal. Now, the more advanced version of that is what Aaron did, where you start putting money in different buckets. I never did that, but I always lived within my means, meaning that like I always knew that like, hey, look, like I'm not spending more than what I make, and I'm not spending the tax money. I'm just investing it or doing different things with it. So if you want to keep it simple, business and personal. And then if you want to go more advanced, then you can go tax savings and a tax account and a savings account where a portion of that goes to those accounts. Now, real estate agents actually have a really, really big benefit, which I didn't learn.
Okay. I know what you're going to say, but before we go there, you said something that was you said it real fast, but I know that most agents haven't actually done it. So yes, to everything that you just said. No, what'd you say?
Live with within your means.
No, that too. But yeah, no, you said I incorporated.
Yeah.
So I've met multiple agents that are like, what? Like I need to be an LLC or a PA. Like I remember when I would have PA on my card, and people would be like, are you an attorney? I'm like, nah, dude, it just stands for professional associate. I'm an S corporate. You know what I mean? Like it has to do with like the structure of the business. So, you recognize to do that very early on because you come from a business family, but I don't think most agents do. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I hired a tax. I saw this similar to how you saw Justin speak. I saw
Yeah.
this lady. Her name was Diana Castro. Very early on in my career, and she's like, for $3,000, I'll set up a plan for you. And I still have that plan. And I told her everything that I was interested in doing, and she told me and even the amount of money that I was interested in making. She's like, okay, well, if you're going to make this amount of money, she's like, you need to set up an S corporation. She's like, if you're going to own rentals, you need to hold them under LLCs. And she's like, if you're going to flip properties, you can do it under an LLC or you can do it under an S corp. So she's basically set up like a plan for me, but the very early thing was an S corp. So let's break that down for people. Most people or as an agent, you're a 1099. As a 1099, if you don't incorporate yourself, there's something called a self-employment tax. That's an additional tax that doesn't get done whenever you're in an S corporation, basically. So there's a rule of thumb. Most accounts will tell you that once you get past $100,000 to $150,000, somewhere in that range, if you're north of that, it makes more sense to become an S corporation because the tax savings that you're going to have as an S corporation exceed that self-employment. There's more of a benefit because there's more requirements as an S corporation than as a 1099, basically. And there's additional cost as an S corporation than you would have as a 1099. So the rule of thumb is that once you get to 100 to 150, or if you plan to be over 100 to 150, it would make sense to become an S corporation, basically.
Yeah, because the expenses to create the S corp superseded by the tax savings.
By the tax savings. Now, what are the additional requirements that you have to have as an S corporation? Just so you know, as an S corporation, you have to put yourself on a payroll, and the payroll has to be a reasonable salary for somebody in your position. So now what that means is that every week or every 2 weeks, you have to pay yourself as an employee from the corporation, basically. As a 1099 person, you don't have to do that. There's not that requirement. So if you have inconsistent cash flow, it's going to like if you're making a check every 4 or 5 months, it's going to make it very complicated for you to become an S corp because now you have to put yourself on a salary where you're receiving a salary as the employee of the company, basically.
Mm-hmm. So fundamentally, two things, right, to kind of get that going. One is be mindful of the fact that those commissions that you earn are not entirely yours, right? Most agents, they get that $10,000 commission check, they spend it all. Don't do that. Set it up in such a way mechanically where that commission check goes into, let's say, a business account, which you can set up. And then you can transfer money out of that account to other accounts, whether it be a personal account that you pay expenses out of, a tax account, right? Take 20%, 25% out right off the top so the money's there, when it comes tax time. And then you end up living off a smaller portion that'll help you live within your means, which will help as you continue to raise an income and do more deals and implement what we share with you on how to do in terms of lead sources and skills to stack time on top of, that, you'll be able to increase profit, which is what we want, margin, because then you take that and you invest it in things that pay you money. The second is to get with like an accountant or someone, like Jose was referring to that he saw speak one time, that can help you to put together the structure of the business, whether that's an LLC, depending on your geographic location, or an S corp or whatever it is, because there's additional tax savings that you get from doing that, where you can start to write things off as a result.
So to my understanding, an LLC doesn't provide tax savings. An LLC provides liability protection, basically. But it basically, the S corp provides tax savings, basically. So here's what I wanted to take it back now. Now, let's say that you have a separate business account where you're basically receiving, where you're basically using you can, at that point, what I did very early on, Aaron, is I would literally print out all 12 months and then just go through it at the end of the year and be like, okay, this was gas. And I would put it all on a spreadsheet. Okay. Like I
Wow.
spent $10,000 of gas. That's the very first one that I did. And I did it like on the weekends, basically.
Yeah.
Then as I started making more money, I hired a bookkeeping company
Same.
that basically has view only access to those bank accounts, meaning they can view, they can't take money out or withdraw money, but they can view all of the transactions in that account. We use a company called SBS Bookkeeping. They're based out of Arizona. They are phenomenal
I
at
use
what
them
they
as well.
do.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, they're going to start asking, what's this? What's that? What's that? Once they get to know your books, they'll have very little questions at the end of the month. Every month you get to see a profit and loss. It gets uploaded to the cloud. And at the end of the year, you have a profit and loss set up for the entire year, as long as all business expenses and business income comes from that one account. And I think it's not that expensive either to have them. So I would strongly recommend having
I
something
agree.
like that.
Yeah. The challenge is I think it's about $400 a month. And we did the same thing that you did, which was, Carla was the one that did it in terms of the books, and she would reconcile every month. So she would take the kind of, personal expenses, business expenses on an Excel spreadsheet, show income for the month. And then I could see, okay, how much was left over, sort of thing. And she would reconcile them every month. But then that got to be just really time consuming for her. As you grow and get bigger, it would take like a whole day on Fridays just to do, right? So then we made the same decision that you did in terms of like having a company. The reason why we both like SBS is because they are founded by real estate agents. They understand our business very well. And they can also, which is pretty cool, I've had calls with them, I'm sure you have as well, because they understand the business so well, they can give you kind of some guidance. They could be like, hey, for agents at your level of production and revenue, you're actually spending a little bit too less on staff.
Marketing.
You could hire somebody, or you could spend some more money on marketing. Or, hey, for agents at your level, you're spending too much, right, in this area. So they can give guidance because they understand the business so well.
They'll break it down to percentages, basically. Be like, hey, like admin should be 10% of whatever income you make. So meaning if you're spending 100,000 on admin and you're making 250, that's 50% or very high percentage of your income. So once you have breakdowns like that, it allows you to make business decisions. That's okay. Like, where am I high and where am I low on every single month?
Yeah, because without that data, you're just guessing. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, well, I think like maybe, you know what I mean? You don't actually know.
Well, here's another thing. One of the guys that works with me, I forgot where I was, and EXP has an app that allows you, that is free, that allows you to basically link up a bank account and then categorize it as to what expense. So I look at him and he's like, oh yeah, like just clicking. And when I said, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's an app by EXP. And when he showed it to me, I was like, oh my God, that's like phenomenal, because EXP knows that this is an issue for agents and has thought about that for agents already. So there's a way that it would be a lot simpler than what I did at the very beginning of my career, basically.
Yeah, they showed that in Dallas. It's like linked to QuickBooks.
It's amazing, right?
And you could just do it right on the fly instead of like Jose, like writing down, like, taking the receipt and writing it down and taking pictures and doing all that stuff. You didn't have to do that at all with that app. They were kind of rolling it out across the country. So maybe it's in California first and then it's going elsewhere.
So I think the first thing is just, okay, how do you like structure the basics? Right. And then it becomes, and I'm glad that you stopped me, because I was going to get into the more,
I know you were
advanced stuff, but I think right now just breaking it down into the very basics kind of makes things very, very simple as well too.
Because I think that, as it pertains to this topic, like, I think that we have convinced ourselves that it's like, wildly complicated. And as a result, a lot of people just like shut down. It's like the same thing with technology. Like, oh man, this is like way too much for me to learn. Like, I'm just going to like, they just shut down and like, hey, I don't do that. Or they say things like, oh, I'm not good at math, or like, oh, well, all you need is like basic arithmetic, like 1 + 1 = 2. Like, that's it. We're not talking about calculus. We're not talking about trig. This is just basic stuff. And the way that you kind of grow in sophistication is by mastering the basics first. Like me and Jose had a conversation this morning about like high level stuff, but like we wouldn't be able to have that conversation from a financial perspective without a very clear, firm foundation in the basics, right? And I think to your point, Jose, a lot of people want to run to the esoteric things. You know, it's like funny, like somebody will talk to me about like all these, you know, tax savings. And I'm like, bro, like you don't have any money. Like, why are you spending all this time thinking about that? Like, instead, you should be like, you're not even incorporated. Like, you don't even have like multiple different bank accounts to like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Like, you're trying to focus on this thing way down the road, and it's just like it's a distraction. Instead, you should be focused on A, making yourself more valuable, B, learning what lead sources are working right now, C, work on conversion so you can make more money. And while you're making more money, set this really firm foundation in terms of getting incorporated, in terms of like, you know, allocating funds so you have money for taxes and stuff. And then once you do that, you like graduate to the next level of the video game, which is some more sophisticated.
Yeah, I agree. And at the very basics, just have separate bank accounts for personal and business. That's basically what you would need. Now, and don't commingle funds, meaning like keep the funds separate, basically.
Yeah, and I also just thought as we're speaking, the separate bank accounts, but also 2 separate like credit cards. So like one for business and then one for personal.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think a lot of agents don't do that either. They just like, you know, put it all together where it's like, no. So a business account where all of the like, and like, let's say like if you're an S-Corp or whatever. So the S-Corp's business account where all revenue flows into that you earn from commissions, a separate account that you can transfer money from that account to pay your bills out of, right? You know, personal expenses, and 2 separate credit cards, a business credit card and a personal.
And your business credit card can be under the business. Like Morales Group has a American Express that is a business credit card. Now, I didn't start off there at the very beginning of my career. I didn't have like a Morales Group credit card. I had a Jose Luis Morales credit card, but that Jose Luis Morales credit card only got used for business expenses.
That's right.
And then I had another Jose Luis Morales credit card that got used for personal expenses. And that made it very easy to be able to track. Track things. Now, if you start buying rental properties, that is a separate bank account. All of the income that comes in to that account goes in that account. All of the expenses come out of that account. There's no commingling of funds. If you flip a property, all the income goes in from that account and all the expenses. When you start commingling, that's when it creates all these complex things. And then you're just like, what expenses for what, basically?
That's right. Yeah. And the cool part about SBS is they will do P&Ls, like profit and loss statements for each one of those accounts. So like, let's say you have like, you know, you have a rental property. Cool. Well, that has a separate account and they will do a separate P&L just for that property, or your flip that you did, and so on and so forth. There's an additional fee to do that. But like the bookkeeper's huge, bro, because you know, I coach an agent. She may watch this, which is fine. I love you. She was making $1 million a year, bro, still doing her own, like trying to figure out, like sitting down, trying to do her own bookkeeping at the end of the year. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you are spending, this is not your highest and best use. You don't know what you're doing. You're not a professional accountant. Like, you should hire SBS or somebody like them to do your bookkeeping for you, because then to your point, at the end of the year, you know what you do? You hand all the 12 months that were done every single month with all the P&L statements to your account. Here you go.
It makes it so simple.
Yeah,
not only that, but you're working on it instead of at the end of the year having to spend a week doing it,
or a month,
basically
like a long period of time. Yeah,
you're and that will cause a valley in your production. Said every single month. Not only that, but they recognize patterns. So, yeah, they'll recognize patterns, so they'll know, oh, this is Jose Luis Morales does loans from Morales Group, you know, like, oh, that's a loan, that's a reimbursement, you know. And then on the memos they write, or we write whatever it is to make it easier for them, and also as a reminder for us to be able to as a reminder for us.
Well, yeah, and the cool part is, to your point, they will, so like they get to know you over time, but then they will eventually, like every once in a while, they still, you know, they'll ask you like, hey, what was this? Yeah. And that's fine. Like, it's good. Like, it's good that they're doing that. And then the other thing that popped up in my mind is like, I know some people who are listening to this are like, oh, I don't want them to have access to my stuff.
It's a
But
view only account.
remember what Jose said, it's a view only account. And I need everybody who's listening to this to really understand, if you want people to help you, like really help you, bro, you have to give them access to your stuff. Like you just have to. There's no other way around it. Whether that be you have VAs that are helping you do reimbursements in your Stripe account, they have to have access to your Stripe account, bro. They have to.
You know what is funny? I've just thought about the Wolf of Wall Street, the movie, and how the dad goes into Jordan Belfort and he goes, "What is TNT Entertainment? What is this? $45,000 on TNT Entertainment? It's like very, very expensive food."
That's funny. Yeah. So, but yeah, like, there's levels. And this is what's required. Like if you really, from the financial component, because again, I think being a real estate agent is this like amazing exercise. And like, it's an amazing laboratory for personal growth and development. And you really have to wear all the hats, bro. You have to be the magnetic, dynamic, and powerful salesperson. You have to really understand systems a little bit, or at least be able to direct people or get people in your ecosystem that can help you build out the systems. You have to understand the finance component, right? So the way I view this is we live in a world now, guys, where you can have fractional like CFOs. So I view SBS as like part of like a fractional CFO. That combined with like a high tax person, you have like a fractional CFO, bro, who's looking at everything you're doing and monitoring, and then they can consult with you. The same thing with like media. Like I don't, you can bring that all in house and that's hard, difficult, or you can have a fractional like CMO who like manages that. And we live in a world, by the way, too, where your entire team could be all across the world. Like it doesn't even matter. Like I was on a call yesterday. We had a guy from Arizona who's helping me with the webinars. We had my assistant, another assistant who's in Colombia, and Gabriella who's in Florida, and we're all on the call together. Like it's fine that they're all over the world. I need to know and like know how to kind of like how the system's working and direct them. My point is though, is that I don't know anybody who's done anything really big without help. And we live in a world now where you can get that help at really low cost. Like I think what SBS does, bro, it's so valuable. And you're like, oh man, it's $400 a month. Like, bro, it will save you so much time, energy, effort, and resources when it comes to this time of the year and tax season.
Well, even this, think about it. Like, let's say somebody's making $500,000, bro, a year profit, and they're doing their own bookkeeping, bro. It's like, dude, you're even getting it at a discount because if you don't invest back into your business, you're basically going to pay taxes on that $500,000. So might as well take some of that profit that you're making and reinvest it back into the business to make it better. And then if you continue to delegate things, it'll actually bring up your income to go from $500,000 to $1 million in profit. But you're not going to be able to do it all by yourself. So let's talk about the like a little bit more advanced stuff. So let's say that you have the separate bank accounts already, right? And you have the bookkeeper already. As real estate agents, you get huge tax benefits from owning real estate. So there's something called a real estate professional status. A real estate professional status is a tax designation. It doesn't mean that you have. All it basically means is that you go that in a rental property, if the rental property makes $20,000 in profit and you have $20,000 in depreciation, normally without the real estate professional status, you could only use the $20,000 to offset gains from passive income. As a real estate professional status, if you have $100,000 in depreciation and only $20,000 in profit from your rental property, you can use the extra $80,000 to offset your real estate income, basically. Mm-hmm. So, and that's basically how, like, there was one year where I bought that $4 million building and I got $1 million in bonus depreciation. I didn't have $1 million in passive income, which means that that $1 million in depreciation was a paper loss against my real estate income. So for the next $1 million that I made in real estate income, that basically offset it federally, basically, where there was no federal taxes for the next $1 million, basically.
Yeah.
So we had this done for one of our agents where he owns a rental property. He meets all the qualifications of a real estate professional designation because he bought the rental property and because he invested a lot of money renovating it and because of the depreciation and the accelerated depreciation, it brought his income down to a point by almost $100,000. It brought his income basically down.
Yeah. And just so everybody knows, like there are qualifications that you have to meet in terms of like 700 hours in a real estate trade, I think it is. And you have to actively participate, as well. So, yeah, but there's different, that's kind of like more advanced, as you progress and as you start to earn more and more income. I think the portion of the population that could benefit from something like that is probably much smaller than just people who would like know the basics. So we just want to make sure that everybody who's watching this, like there's no reason as you go into 2026 to not go in with a corporate, like where you incorporate.
Bookkeeper, yeah.
There's no reason why you go into 2026 without having a separate, like a business credit card and a personal credit card. There's no reason why you don't have bank accounts set up where the money flows into the business account and then you have a personal account, right? And again, me and Jose aren't financial advisors. We're not, it's not our stock and trade. What we are just two individuals that had to learn this stuff, kind of on our own. And and through triangulating ideas with other people, we just want to pass along to you so you can, get this stuff up and running and really build a good foundation for yourself.
And then once you have those things set up, what you could do as well too, like, so we send it out an email to our accountant around every time this year. And we tell them, hey, can you give us like, this is our profit and loss.
Yeah.
Can you give us like estimated taxes that we're going to have to pay next year on this amount?
Yep.
And could you guide us to see if there's any potential deductions that we can do? And that's the same thing that you're doing right now. You're basically looking at like, hey, how much income came in? And you're looking at like, okay, like what can I invest in to bring down this taxable income or to pay less money in taxes, basically. So right around this time of the year, that's when Mariela sends out that email and basically starts doing that. So like, even like cars, like if you have a business car, like that can be a deduction for you for this year or last year or whatever, whenever it is that you bought it. So there's a lot of things that you can do.
There are different options. And again, like, I feel like it's in stages, right? So the first stage is like, I got to like stack time on top of my skills and specialized knowledge. So that way I can make myself more valuable to the marketplace and I can earn more money. As I earn more money, I need to be a good steward of that resource. And that's where we have this, can't change what you don't measure. And that's why we have this structure set up, right? That we're discussing, whether it's like, you incorporate, you have the different bank accounts, you have different credit card, whatever. Okay. And then as time progresses and you continue to earn more and more money, you'll notice that your biggest expense is taxes.
Yeah.
So then from there, you can start to educate yourself and get in proximity to people who can educate you and help you to implement different strategies there. So, the purpose of doing this, of course, is to help people. It's to serve. It's to be of assistance. It's to be light, right? I get all of that. I'm also aware the purpose of a business is to make a profit. That's the purpose. And, we need to just make sure that we have the structures in place that allow us to be able to facilitate that. And it's the difference between like it being a hobby or just like messing around or going pro. I mean, I've met agents that make $200,000 a year and they're not incorporated. And you're like, but if you want to go pro and you want to actually build something and not just sell something, you have to have the financial foundation set up and the mechanisms with which to kind of, be that steward of that resource.
Not only that, but if you haven't filed your taxes in the last 2 years, like you need to get that in order because the IRS, just so you know, charges some of the highest interest. And if you owe them any money, it could snowball into the way that it makes it very unmanageable. And the IRS can put liens on your properties. So meaning like, let's say you're buying rental properties or you have all these assets, they can levy money from your bank account. It's basically a recipe for disaster. So if you haven't done your tax in the last 2 years, I would make it a goal to get that fixed and get that
like
immediately, basically. Because if
yeah,
not,
dial it in.
not having this will limit your ability to grow wealth, to make other investments. It'll limit your ability to qualify for loans. It'll limit your ability to have that foundation, basically.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. And you know, again, like you would think this would be like kind of fundamental stuff, but I know like nowhere in the testing that we did it talk about it at all. Nowhere in most people's training do they ever have a conversation with them about it. So, you know, take this information, utilize it, implement it into your business, into your life, so that way you can do more deals, man, and you can make more money and keep more of your money, invest more of your money. And that is our goal and objective, for you to be as productive as possible. And in that vein, me and Jose, for the 3rd year now, annually, you saw the ad that was run by the great dynamic Ricky for the Do More Deals Summit. And, you know, this year's not going to disappoint at all. We bring together the best and the brightest, the best in finance, the best in artificial intelligence this year, man. I just got off a call with that guy again. It's wild what is coming down the pipe. The best sales, the best. The price of community is inconvenience. So I get it. We got to get on a plane. We got to come see each other. You know, we got to go spend some time away from other people and other stuff we could be doing, but people we could be doing them with. And I'm respectful of that. I'm respectful of time. My life has changed dramatically because of events. I met Jose at an event, right? Some of the best relationships I've formed have been from events or masterminds and things of that nature. And I know that we're all one relationship away from changing our family tree for the rest of our life. Mine and Jose's intention is to be that relationship for you. You have to be in the room though. So get your tickets now. We're excited to see you. You got anything to add to that, Jose?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think this is something that agents need. And our goal is to help you guys do more deals, make more money, keep more of that money. And I would strongly recommend attending the event.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's grow. I'll talk to you soon, bro.
Awesome. Later.
Peace.